Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's 8:12 in the morning. I think Cal always has me start off because I have a bit of a, I don't know, loud voice, quite enthusiastic, but as you can tell, I am also on day 7 of a cold, so my apologies if I pause to drink water and do other things. So as Cal said, I'm going to speak a little bit about a current study we have going on looking at digital library and digital curation curriculum. And as part of that study, we're looking at what types of tools or software are used in the classrooms in graduate level programs to introduce students to getting hands-on, dirty experience with different applications for doing digital curation. A little bit of the why on the study before I go into talking about the method and just some early results. You will see I have no slides. I created slides this morning and I realized that pretty much they weren't that entertaining. I debated putting in pictures of dogs, but are you going to bring some
I
for
just
me?
bring up the
Cal's going to make some for me on the fly.
I feel so bad for you. Yeah.
Live PowerPointing. It's like tweeting this. Thank you, Cal. So, a little bit of the why behind the study. You heard Helen mention the Digital Curation Curriculum Project, DIGCUR, which began...
You too?
I know. Ditch Seeker. See, and I can still slip up all these years later after 2006. But as part of the first Ditch Seeker project, developing an openly accessible graduate level curriculum framework in digital curation, which we're all very familiar with digital curation. This was an innovative thing back in 2005 and 2006 when it was planned along with University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and some other professional training programs. Now we know that most graduate level programs are offering courses in digital curation, as well as that old standby digital libraries. Old standby because that's been with us since the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. So as part of that project, in addition to developing the graduate level curriculum framework, we wanted to do that with, of course, input from the community. One of the characteristics that potential employers of students with a specialization in digital curation said that they would seek in the candidates applying for their jobs was hands-on experience. Pretty much a given in today's workforce and marketplace. The challenge for me as an educator is how to give them that hands-on experience in the classroom setting to complement and support any type of hands-on experience they would get in, say, internships, practicum, or from attending professional conferences and events such as this, or such as the Digital Curation Professional Institute, where we just concluded our mini 2-day meeting yesterday. It's also a challenge for me as an educator. And I don't think this is felt across all graduate level educators. I don't mean to generalize all of us, especially as we see the great work coming out of UNC and Big Curator, the actual sort of R&D and development. I don't do development of tools, and I haven't gotten my hands dirty with applying or practicing digital curation since I left the Digital Repository Initiative at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in January of 2009. I say that because that was a happy day. No, it meant that I could go back and focus on my studies. Oh, Nancy, was that too catty? We're having talks about cattiness when talking. So it really, I teach a class on human information interactions, and we talk a lot about information overload. I am tool and application overload. It is really hard for me to have to make those critical decisions on what I think it's most important to get students experimenting with and using. And you're further challenged as more and more graduate programs are incorporating online learning, further challenged by how I can do that in an online setting as opposed to a lab where I can stand over people or have lab support move around and help them build up boxes and destroy them. So that's a little bit of the impetus behind it. Further, digital library curriculum and digital curation or digital preservation curriculum, typically one about collection development and management, and the other one going further about how to maintain, add value to it, and make it usable into the indefinite future. We're seeing more and more, from my informal review of digital library syllabi and discussions with colleagues who teach in one area or both, we're seeing more of those preservation aspects brought into digital library courses. So that was another impetus. I wanted to see for myself as an educator what types of tools and resources people are using, and I also wanted to see the crossover with digital library curriculum. So hence our digital library, digital curation curriculum project, which has been ongoing at the University of Tennessee for about 6 months. It builds from work that was going on simultaneous at UNC during DigSeeker 1 and DigSeeker 2, and that was a digital libraries curriculum project that was a joint effort between UNC Chapel Hill and Virginia Tech. One of the things they did in their syllabi study was to identify core readings. So core articles, core journals, they wanted to see if there was a core within digital library curriculum. So we're building from that, and by building from it, we are looking at publicly available syllabi over the past 2 academic years, offered in foundational courses in digital library and digital curation curriculum, to see where there's crossover, to see what these core readings are, core authors, core journals, as well as other types of resources. Anybody looking at today's syllabus knows that it's just not read this article from this journal, read this article, but it's also, go experiment with DSpace, read the program, read the application information for this tool, etc. So that's where we've been at. Some hang-ups. It's funny, digital curation, digital libraries, it seems about giving, we want to make stuff available, give to the greater good. It's really hard to find syllabi publicly available, you should know. So that slowed our study a little bit. We had to get IRB approval at our institution to reach out to colleagues that we know well and say, can we please have your syllabus? So at this, we also, we have ALA accredited programs. That's one population for our study, but we also know that there's digital library and digital curation curriculum in graduate programs in archival studies. So we looked at that directory, as well as a new movement, that's the iSchool members. So we looked at programs across, I think it's 120 institutions. From that, over a 2-year period, 120 institutions, we only found 24 publicly available syllabi. And some of those were duplicates. So at this point, our sample is actually 54 with our syllabi requests that we're receiving across those programs. And again, readings is one thing, but what I want to briefly tell you about are the types of resources people are listing to their syllabi, whether in the course sort of overview or front matter section or within the course outlines. And be aware, just like snowflakes, and let's hope we have none of that today, no 2 syllabi are the same. So this is what we found. If people are not many references to technology or tools at all, as in be prepared, you'll be using this in class, or you'll need to be able to download and configure this. We didn't see many references to that. That can be because they're hidden in other things, like assignments, which aren't as easy to find. For those applications we see referenced, Greenstone, by far the most common, then DSpace, a couple of references to DSpace, and then Content DM. In terms of other types of applications, we have seen reference to, and I can tell you who this is from, Curator's Workbench, but we're not seeing reference to many other tools. Doesn't mean that people aren't using them in the classroom. It means that this content analysis approach won't take me to that fuller picture. So we're following this up with web-based questionnaires and further content analysis of assignment documentation. I'm happy to share more with anybody. As well, I'm happy to meet with all of you who are building these tools and utilizing these tools at your institutions to see how we can work as educators to bring in the demonstrations and get the hands-on experience in the classroom. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much.